Hi there, sixth graders. This is World History, Chapter 14 about medieval Europe, and this is Lesson 2 about rulers and invaders. We're starting on page 396. Do follow along. First, we focus on the main idea in the preview. After a series of rulers and invaders, medieval government in Europe experienced a change. We have some names here. England, Scandinavia, Runnymede, Charlemagne, William the Conqueror, King John, Doomsday Book, Middle Ages, Magna Carta. You are there. 1096. You're tired. You've ridden on horseback for 3 hours to reach a small village in the south of England. Yesterday you were at a seaside town. Tomorrow you will be at a lord's castle. You must carry out King William's order that all of England be surveyed. You ask the same questions in every town and village. Who is the lord of the manor? How much land is here? How many villagers live here? How many sheep? How many pigs? How many fisheries? There are dozens of other similar questions to ask. Just yesterday, some peasants asked what will be done with the Doomsday Book, for that's what people have been calling it. You're not sure, but you and your fellow workers think that King William will use the information to see if he can get more tax money from the countryside. At the very least, you guess that when it's finished, the Doomsday Book will give an accurate picture of life at this time. What does that sound like they're doing? Well, they're counting everything. That's a census. That's what a count is. A European empire. The Doomsday Book helped keep track of people in England during the Middle Ages, or the period of Europe from about AD 500 to 1500. It also helped the rulers set up a tax system. Before the Doomsday Book was put together in 1086, no one really knew how many people lived in England. During the Middle Ages, rulers in Europe, such as Charlemagne, had to rely on records kept by nobles. In 771, Charlemagne became the sole ruler of his kingdom, and by 800, he had been crowned emperor. He gave large areas of land to loyal nobles. In return, the nobles gave an oath, or a pledge, of loyalty to him. The nobles were responsible for maintaining roads, bridges, and fortifications or defense walls on their estates. Read more about Charlemagne in the biography on page 399. We'll flip there now and read about him, and then we'll come back. This is all about Charlemagne. Charlemagne was the son of Pepin III. Charlemagne ruled the kingdom of the Franks with his brother. The Franks had invaded the Western Roman Empire in the 400s. Charlemagne was educated and raised as a Christian. In 768, Pepin III died, and Charlemagne and his brother took over their father's kingdom. Charlemagne's brother died 3 years later, in 771, making Charlemagne the sole ruler of the Franks. He immediately set out to conquer neighboring lands and expand his power. Leading his army into battle, Charlemagne, at nearly 6'4", towered over most men. Once he conquered a region, Charlemagne forced the people to become Christians. He maintained close ties with the Roman Church throughout his reign. At Christmas Mass in 800, Pope Leo III crowned Charlemagne emperor of the former Roman Empire in Western Europe. People attending the Mass gave this salute: "To Charles Augustus, crowned by God, great and peace-giving emperor." Charlemagne ruled much of Western Europe, except England and Scandinavia. As ruler of such a large empire, Charlemagne issued a series of legal decrees or commands called capitularies. These written laws covered everything from church matters to punishment. Charlemagne also promoted culture and learning in his empire. He invited leading European scholars to his court and asked them to further educate clergy. The scholars also supervised the copying by hand of classic Roman literature, and had these works not been copied, we would not know about many of them today. The originals have been lost. Okay, we're back to Invaders on the previous page, on page 397. Despite Charlemagne's efforts to strengthen his kingdom, it fell apart after his death. First, Vikings, or fierce pirates and warriors from Scandinavia, invaded the empire. The Vikings came from the present-day countries of Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. From about 800 to 1100, the Vikings launched several invasions. They conquered and looted or robbed parts of England and France. Then they raided Germany, Ireland, Italy, Russia, and Spain. At first, they raided these areas to steal goods. Later, they set up trading centers and trade routes. In the early 900s, another group of Vikings, the Normans, settled in northern France. There, they became Christians and church leaders. They also adopted Frankish customs. Under the leadership of William the Conqueror, they marched into England and later advanced into southern Italy. A change in government. From about 1066 throughout the 1100s, most of the kings who ruled England were strong and governed justly. They followed accepted customs that established both the lord's duties and what was expected of the king. However, there was no real limit on the king's power. King John, crowned in 1199, governed with more force than earlier kings did. He demanded more military service and greater amounts of money. He also sold royal positions to the highest bidders. English lords were angry with John's rule. In 1214, John lost an important battle against France. Then civil war broke out in England. Rather than face defeat, John agreed to a set of promises on June 15, 1215, at Runnymede. The document was called the Magna Carta, or the Great Charter. The Magna Carta contained 63 clauses or articles. Most of the clauses helped lords and other landholders. Some articles eventually helped all people. For example, the charter stated that the king could make no special demands for money without the consent of the lords. The document stated that no free men could be imprisoned, exiled, or deprived of property, except by law. The greatest value of the Magna Carta was that it limited royal power. The king had to obey the law. Probably a good thing to have in place, the Magna Carta. Thanks for listening.